Hi everyone. So this week our discussion question is describe your experience thus far with documenting and billing procedures. Have you written a treatment plan before? Have you written a progress note before? And have you submitted billing codes before? If you have done any of these things before, describe the difficulties you may have had with this process. If you have not had experience with this topic, describe any potential difficulties you imagine you would encounter with these processes. So where I currently work, yes, I do have to do billing. It can be difficult because it seems like every year after they come in and do an audit, something always changes. You either have to add something or you have to not add something. So for example, when we used to a while ago, we would put our travel time. So travel to and from where we traveled at, and then back to from the place we were at to back to either the person's house or back to the office. So for example, they change. We want location. We want to know where you were at for all three of those places, all three of those things. So now, something else that they're currently changing with the Department of Mental Health, Missouri has been chosen to do this study. So our company has been selected as one of the companies to be involved in this study. So they're changing a whole bunch with billing. A lot of it is a little bit more complex. Just with everything, it can just be complicated because they expect so much whenever things just constantly change, it seems like, whenever it comes to billing. And they want certain details. They either want less details or more, or they want more details of certain things, or like what happened in the notes. So what our notes usually look like, we have, they call them the PERP notes. So it starts with a P. So we have the purpose, we have the intervention, we have the response to the intervention, and then we have the plan. So whenever I write my note, I have usually the setup. I have the time, the travel time from where I left the office to meet with the client, where the time I've spent with the client, and then the time that I left the client to either go back to the next destination or back to the office. And then we always make sure we put our treatment goal at the very top to explain what the purpose of our intervention, what we were working on that day, pretty much what goal we were shooting for. So then we have the purpose, so why we were there, the intervention, what we were planning on doing, and then we have the response. Like I said, we describe maybe how the client was feeling, what they might have done. Then we kind of explain how they responded to the intervention. Also, another thing that we always include is we try to do collaborative. So whenever we do collaborative, we kind of do an overview with our client so they have their own words in our notes or in that intervention piece or the response to intervention. So when we have that, we have quotations that has been new. It's been recently added. So they want to make sure we do that. And then just a few other things that maybe occurred, like what happened, behavioral situations, just little things that could have happened or occurred, and maybe an update, like if you talk to a parent, what the parent might have reported what's happened within the past week. And then we always have the plan, so it's a plan of what's going to occur within the next week, like what do we plan on doing. So we continue to plan on working on communication skills. So I would write, provider will continue to work on communication skills the next week. Something else whenever it comes with billing, for our company, our rule is that we have to have our notes or our billing in within 72 hours. So sometimes this can be difficult, especially since where I work, we have a caseload of between 15 to 20 kids. And so trying to make sure we get all those notes in on time and the correct information in the notes. So we're just not putting a note together and then we take our time, but also make sure that all the correct information is in and trying to make sure we meet that deadline. So time management is kind of a big piece whenever it comes to our billing system at where I work. And I do have billing codes, or have billed to certain codes, but mostly the only thing that we bill is, since the program that I work in is grant funded, so we bill to the grant that we have put in place. So that's kind of the only thing that's different. That's the only code I've ever really billed to, but all I know is that's obviously very important to know is billing codes and where and what and why and who you're billing to. So, thanks.